I want to take a few minutes here to talk about one aspect of the Kensington situation that is getting overlooked or misunderstood or something. Um, Past the camera here, I'm staring at a spreadsheet on my computer, and I'm going to share the link to that spreadsheet in the comments of this video so you can go to it. But they say that the total income coming to drug dealers in Kensington alone is $1 billion. Think about that. $1 billion. I can't even really wrap my head around what that means. Staggering amount of money. I've also heard that the number of people living homeless or something close to a homeless lifestyle, buying their drugs from the dealers, living extremely local, if not actually on the street, is in the range of 2,000 people. Think about that. Within a few block area. Now you multiply that by the average dollar amount that each of those 2,000 people spends per day. And I've asked a lot of people, if you could just average it out across the population of those 2,000, what would be an approximate dollar figure per day that they spend for their drugs? And that number was $150. So that means that the 2,000 people on the streets are spending $150 per day. That's $300,000 to the dealers themselves coming in. Now you multiply that by $365 or days per year, and you come up with $109,500,000. That's 10.95% of the estimated $1 billion coming in. That means that $890,500,000 of income to the dealers and so forth is coming from outside of Kensington on a daily basis. Now hold that thought for a bit. I want to take a closer look at the prostitution issue in Kensington. And again, this is based on conversations I've had with men and women on the streets. It has been said that 90% of all the women on the streets are 100% reliant on prostitution to raise money for drugs. 70% of all the men on the streets are 100% reliant on that 90% of women. Now let's just assume for the sake of conversation that the number of men and the number of women is essentially equal. That means that 80% of all the drug money for the homeless or basically homeless population of people is coming through prostitution. 80% of the total. That equals $87,600,000. The average dollar figure that I've come up with based on conversations that a woman makes per date, is the phrase, is $40. That means that the number of acts of prostitution per year is 2,190,000 acts of prostitution within the Kensington area per year. Divided by 365 days per year gives you 6,000 acts of prostitution per day. Divided by 24 hours, 250 acts of prostitution per hour around the clock throughout the year. Divided by the number of minutes, 4.17 acts of prostitution per minute in Kensington. Now, the conclusion that I came up with is that if you want to stop, or more realistically, greatly reduce the drug situation that is created by the homeless population, we need to put pressure on the men with the money to stop their inappropriate use of these women, who are patients of an officially recognized disease and responding to the physical needs of their addiction. The men doing the hiring of the women have far more to lose, such as social status, job, marriage, etc., than do the women. The man's need to hire the woman is not a need that, in the absence of it, will produce anything close to the agony of dope sickness. Their behavior can be brought into line much easier than the women whose addiction absolutely requires her to keep money coming in or suffer the consequences of the disease, that is, the dope sickness and so forth, that they would rather not have. Okay, so money coming in to the dealers from outside of Kensington. Again, that number, let me go back up here, that number, $890,500,000 per year. Let's say that the average purchase of when somebody drives into Kensington is $500. Let's just call it 500. It's a hard number to nail down, but for the sake of conversation, 500. The number of transactions, that is drug purchases by people outside of Kensington who are coming into Kensington to make their purchases, get this, there are 1,781,000 transactions, drug transactions per year based on these numbers. Divided by 365, 4,879 transactions. People driving into Kensington or taking mass transit to purchase $500 worth of stuff per visit. Think about that. Divided by 24 hours, there's 203 transactions, or a little over 3 per minute. So the point in all of this chart that I will link into this video, is to help people understand that the financial part of this is not coming mostly from the homeless population of people. It's coming from outside. And so for the Philadelphia authorities to say, if we just get rid of, clean up the homeless population, we will take care of the whole thing. Far from it. So I'm just going to leave this at that and get this video up on YouTube. You can watch it, and you're even free to play with the numbers as long as you follow the directions that are on the spreadsheet. So thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you later.